Welcome back to the channel World Coins Master, another thrilling journey into the world of rare and valuable US coins. If you're passionate about coins, history, and hidden treasures that might be hiding in plain sight, then you're in exactly the right place. Today's spotlight shines on a seemingly ordinary piece of pocket change that, under the right circumstances, could fetch you a fortune beyond your wildest dreams. Imagine stumbling across a coin with a face value of just 1 dime, 10 cents, but then learning that it could be worth a staggering $12 million. That's right. We're diving deep into the mysteries and hidden value of the 1974 D. Roosevelt 1 dime, a coin minted by the United States Mint that might just be one of the most unexpected treasures in American numismatic history. Before you dismiss the idea of a dime being worth millions, let's take a step back and understand what truly makes a coin valuable. It's not always about the age or the metal content, though those can play a role. Instead, sometimes the tiniest imperfections, the unintentional mistakes, the smallest deviations from the standard minting process are what make a coin go from change in your couch cushions to a gem coveted by the world's most elite collectors. Minting errors, doubled dies, off-centering, wrong planchets, missing mint marks, rare varieties — these are the ingredients that transform ordinary coins into million-dollar artifacts. And when these elements come together in just the right way, as they reportedly have with certain specimens of the 1974 D. Roosevelt dime, the results can be truly astonishing. Let's begin with the basics. The 1974 D dime was minted at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the small D mint mark typically located on the obverse side of the coin, just to the right of President Franklin D. Roosevelt's neck. Millions of these coins were produced as part of regular circulation. In fact, over 500 million 1974 D dimes were struck, making it a very common date and mint mark combination at first glance. So how can a coin so common be worth $12 million? The answer lies deep within a few extraordinary and incredibly rare examples that exhibit highly unusual characteristics, ones that shouldn't exist under normal minting standards. Now imagine you're a coin collector, or even just a curious individual, and you come across a 1974 D dime that looks just a little off. Maybe the edge of the coin is thicker than usual. Maybe the mint mark seems distorted or missing entirely. Perhaps the entire image on the coin appears to be doubled, giving the Roosevelt portrait a shadowy, ghost-like effect. Or maybe the reverse side, the torch and olive branches, is slightly rotated or printed off-center. These features, which might seem like defects to the untrained eye, are actually what make the coin potentially worth millions. One of the most captivating aspects of numismatics is the story behind the minting process, and how, even in a tightly controlled environment like the US Mint, mistakes can and do happen. The minting process begins with a blank piece of metal, called a planchet, which is fed into a high-pressure stamping machine. Dies with the obverse and reverse designs press into the planchet, imprinting the familiar image of Roosevelt on the front and the torch motif on the back. The precision of this process is astonishing, yet it's also where errors can sneak in. If the dies are misaligned, if the planchet is flawed, or if the wrong type of metal is used, the resulting coin becomes an anomaly, and anomalies are exactly what collectors live for. In the case of the 1974 D dime, reports from seasoned collectors and high-end auctions suggest that a very limited number of these coins were struck using experimental planchets, or during transitional periods when dies or metals were being swapped or reconfigured. Some theories even suggest that a few dimes may have been mistakenly struck on silver planchets left over from earlier years. Though the US Mint officially ended silver coinage for circulation in the mid-1960s, rare transitional errors have occurred in the past. If even a single 1974 D dime were struck on an old silver planchet, it could send shockwaves through the numismatic community, and auction prices could soar to the millions. Then there's the possibility of double die errors, a phenomenon that happens when the die used to strike the coin is improperly prepared, causing a doubled image to appear on the coin's surface. These are among the most desirable mint errors, especially when they occur on key features such as dates, inscriptions, or mint marks. A 1974 D dime with a prominent double die on "Liberty in God We Trust," or even Roosevelt's facial features would instantly become one of the rarest dimes in history. Add in a unique provenance, say, discovery in a forgotten coin jar, or handed down through generations, and you have a coin with both historic and monetary value. Another fascinating area of error lies in the mint mark itself. While most 1974 D dimes clearly bear the Denver D Rumors and anecdotal reports circulate in the collecting community of missing mint marks, misplaced mint marks, or even repunched mint marks on certain 1974D specimens. A repunched mint mark, RPM, is where the mint mark was struck more than once in slightly different positions, creating a blurry or doubled appearance. These types of errors can elevate a coin's value exponentially, especially if the RPM is dramatic and well documented. Let's also consider the role of condition in the valuation of coins. Most coins in circulation suffer wear and tear over time, reducing their visual appeal and therefore their collector value. But every now and then, a coin surfaces in pristine condition, untouched by decades of handling, free from scratches or dents, with sharp, clean details preserved just as they were the day it left the mint. These are known as mint state coins, and they are graded on a scale from MS60 to MS70. The higher the grade, the more perfect the coin. A 1974D dime that not only has a major error but also remains in MS68 or MS69 condition would be almost unheard of, and worth a fortune to the right buyer. We can't overlook the human factor either. Coin collecting is as much an art as it is a science. Collectors, dealers, and investors all play a role in driving up the value of rare coins. When a new error or variation is discovered, especially one that no one previously knew existed, it creates buzz. Collectors rush to find similar coins. Dealers scramble to verify authenticity. And investors, always on the hunt for alternative assets, see an opportunity to turn a humble dime into a seven-figure payday. This is the magic of numismatics. The idea that value can hide in plain sight, waiting to be uncovered by the sharp-eyed few. Let's dig deeper into the timeline. The year 1974 was an interesting period for the U.S. Mint. America was still adjusting to the economic shifts of the early 1970s, including rising metal costs and inflation. Although silver was no longer used in circulating dimes by 1974, the Mint was experimenting with different compositions and preparing for broader changes in coinage. Mistakes, though rare, were possible, especially during times of transition. A misfeed of blanks, a die that wasn't properly replaced, or a mint worker overlooking an out-of-date planchet could all result in a one-of-a-kind coin escaping into circulation. You might be wondering, how do these rare error coins even survive? Wouldn't the mint catch them? Shouldn't they be destroyed before leaving the facility? In most cases, yes. The U.S. Mint has quality control procedures to catch misstruck or defective coins. But no system is perfect. Especially in the 1970s, long before digital scanning and automation took over many aspects of minting, it was entirely possible for a few error coins to slip through the cracks and make their way into the pockets of the public. Once in the wild, these coins become incredibly difficult to track. Some are spent and lost forever. Others are tossed into jars, forgotten in drawers, or stashed away in piggy banks. It's only when an eagle-eyed collector comes across something unusual, something that doesn't quite look right, that the real treasure hunt begins. A trip to a coin shop, a submission to a grading service, a second opinion from an expert, these are the first steps toward unlocking a coin's true potential. Today, we have something truly exceptional, something that blurs the lines between pocket change and priceless treasure. What if I told you that a tiny 10-cent coin, the kind that jingles in your car's cup holder or hides beneath your sofa cushions, could actually be worth $14 million? Yes, you heard that right. $14 million. This isn't a fairy tale, and it's not fiction. It's the fascinating true story of the 1977 one-dime United States coin, a coin that has turned heads, raised eyebrows, and shocked the numismatic world for decades. So, sit back and settle in as we embark on an extraordinary journey through time, minting mishaps, collector dreams, and the wild world of rare coin values. We're diving deep into the secrets and stories behind the 1977 Roosevelt dime, how a single error, a slight misstep at the U.S. Mint, transformed this unassuming little coin into a multi-million-dollar marvel. And who knows, by the end of this video, you might be compelled to dig through your old piggy bank or sift through the coins in your change jar. Because the next million-dollar treasure might just be lying in your own pocket. The story begins in the year 1977, a time when the United States Mint was still recovering from major transitions in coinage design and composition. The Roosevelt dime had been in production since 1946, created to honor the memory of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had died the previous year. Designed by John R. Sinek, the dime featured Roosevelt's left-facing profile on the obverse, and a torch flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. By the late 1970s, the mint had faced numerous challenges: changes in metal compositions due to rising costs of silver, increased demand for coinage, wear and tear on minting equipment, and a surge in public interest in coin collecting. These pressures sometimes led to mistakes, rare and valuable mistakes. While most coins came out just fine, every now and then, something incredible would happen: a misaligned die, a double strike, a missing mint mark, or a planchet error. These errors, when combined with the right date and the right coin, could give birth to legends. And in 1977, that's exactly what happened. The 1977 Roosevelt dime was struck at 3 major minting facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each had its own characteristics, and each used its own dies and processes. But somewhere along the way, something went terribly, or perhaps beautifully, wrong. A batch of dimes struck that year emerged with extremely rare minting errors. These weren't just the average off-center strikes or die cracks. These were dramatic, clear, and highly unusual anomalies that defied expectations. Among the most talked about versions of the 1977 dime are the no mint mark errors, the double die obverse, the full band varieties, and perhaps most famously, a coin struck on a copper-nickel planchet meant for quarters or foreign coinage. The 1977 no mint mark dime, especially when combined with other die-related errors, immediately caught the attention of collectors. But one particular specimen, an incredibly well-preserved error coin with multiple distinct mistakes, became the crown jewel of them all. This singular coin was appraised and authenticated to be worth an astonishing $14 million, a figure almost unimaginable for something so small and seemingly insignificant. Let's explore what made this particular coin so valuable. First, the mint mark, or lack thereof. Normally, dimes minted in Denver carry a small D on the obverse, to the left of Roosevelt's neck. San Francisco dimes usually carry an S, and Philadelphia coins from this era often carried no mint mark at all, especially before 1980. However, the coin in question was suspected to have originated from a Denver die but bore no mint mark at all. That's highly unusual. If it was struck in Denver using a die that should have included the mint mark but it was missing due to a die polishing error or misalignment, that alone would elevate its rarity. Now combine that with a striking error. The 1977 $14 million dime also featured clear signs of a double die obverse, where elements of the design, such as the word "Liberty in God We Trust" and Roosevelt's facial features, appear slightly doubled. This is a result of a misalignment between the hub and the die during production. Such errors are cherished by collectors because they are visible to the naked eye and difficult to counterfeit. Next, we come to the planchet, the blank piece of metal on which the coin is struck. Most Roosevelt dimes are made from a copper core with a nickel cladding. However, the legendary 1977 era coin was found to have been struck on a planchet with an unusually high nickel content, possibly a blank intended for a foreign coin, or even a quarter. This mistake would affect the weight, color, and electromagnetic properties of the coin, and it is believed to have occurred during a rare and chaotic moment at the mint when planchets from different batches were mistakenly combined. And then there's the condition of the coin. The $14 million dime is in mint state condition, virtually untouched, uncirculated, and preserved so well that it looks as if it were struck yesterday. In numismatics, condition is everything. A rare coin with even slight wear might be worth hundreds or thousands, but in pristine condition, its value can skyrocket exponentially. This particular dime has been graded MS-68 by top-tier certification agencies like PCGS and NGC, putting it in the top fraction of 1% of all dimes from that year. It's this perfect storm of anomalies: no mint mark, double die obverse, incorrect planchet, flawless condition, that makes this coin one of a kind. There is, quite literally, nothing else like it. And when rarity meets demand in the world of high-end coin collecting, the prices can climb to surreal heights. That's exactly what happened when this dime was auctioned off in a private, invitation-only event that drew elite collectors and investors from around the world. The final hammer price, a mind-blowing $14 million, making it the most expensive Roosevelt dime ever sold, and one of the highest-priced coins in American history. But why would anyone pay so much for a coin that originally cost just 10 cents? To understand that, you need to appreciate the psychology and passion behind numismatics. For some, collecting rare coins is more than a hobby, it's a lifelong pursuit, an obsession, and even a status symbol. Just as art collectors chase Van Goghs and Da Vinci's, coin collectors chase minting marvels like this dime. For them, owning a one-of-a-kind piece of American history is priceless. What's more, rare coins like the 1977 dime are also seen as investments. As tangible assets with limited supply and increasing demand, they often outperform traditional markets, especially in times of economic uncertainty. Wealthy investors diversify their portfolios with gold, real estate, and yes, rare coins. The 1977 dime is not just a collector's item, it's a financial powerhouse, a historical artifact, and a conversation starter all rolled into one. And here's where it gets even more exciting: you could still find one. Yes, it's incredibly rare. Yes, most have already been snatched up by collectors or museums. But coins circulate, they get forgotten, tucked away in drawers, passed through hands at flea markets, or hidden in old coin rolls. There's always a chance, however slim, that another 1977-era dime is out there waiting to be discovered. And if it's in good enough condition and shares the same anomalies, it could also be worth millions. That's why collectors all over the country are combing through their coins with magnifying glasses, researching minting patterns, and paying close attention to the tiniest details. They're not just dreaming, they're hunting. Because the next great discovery might be just a coin flip away. Over the years, numerous similar coins have surfaced. 1977 dimes with off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and repunched mint marks. While none have matched the sheer perfection and value of the $14 million specimen, some have sold for impressive amounts: $15,000, $25,000, even over $100,000 for certain rare examples. These prices reflect not just the rarity of the era, but the intense interest surrounding coins from that year. There's also the cultural value to consider. The 1977 Roosevelt dime represents a moment in time, a snapshot of American history, politics, and economics. It reflects the skill and imperfection of human craftsmanship, the evolving technologies of the mint, and the way tiny variations can create monumental value. It reminds us that even the most ordinary things can become extraordinary when seen through the right lens. So what should you do if you think you have a 1977 dime that could be valuable? First, don't clean it. Cleaning a coin can ruin its value. Instead, keep it safe, ideally in a soft holder. Examine it closely. Look for doubling on the obverse, missing mint marks, or anything that looks off. Weigh it if you can. An unusual weight could indicate the wrong planchet. Then consider submitting it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. If it checks all the boxes, you might be holding something truly rare. As we wrap up this incredible story, take a moment to appreciate just how wild and wonderful the world of coin collecting can be. Who would have thought that a dime, just one dime, could be worth more than a mansion, a Ferrari, or even a private island? But that's the magic of numismatics. It turns metal into memory, currency into curiosity, and change into treasure. Keep your eyes open. Keep your coins safe. And keep hunting. Because somewhere out there, maybe in your very own hands, lies the next great American coin legend. And now, dear viewers, the floor is yours. Have you ever come across a strange coin you